If no matter what you do when you step on the scale and it keeps fluctuating between the same 1 to 3 pounds, then you need to watch this video all the way through, because after losing 70 pounds myself, this happened to me all the time, but I figured it out. So in this video, I'm gonna explain why you keep regaining the same 1 to 3 pounds, what to do when this happens, and how you are going to fix it going forward. First, let's talk about why you keep losing and regaining the same 3 pounds.
So if you are in a 500 calorie deficit every single day, it would take you 7 days to lose 1 pound of fat. The reason that we know this is because 1 pound of fat equals roughly about 3,500 calories. So let's just say day 1, you were to weigh 165 pounds and you were to be in that 500 calorie deficit. Day 2, let's say you weighed 164 pounds. So it feels like you're making progress because you've lost a pound and you're still in that 500 calorie deficit and you're being consistent with your diet. Day 3, your weight stays the same and you still weigh 164 pounds, but it still feels like you're making progress because you are still within that 500 calorie deficit and you've still lost a pound. Now, days 4 and days 5, your weight has dropped again. It feels like you are making progress. It feels like you are on the right track because your weight keeps trending down, and this entire time you have been in a calorie deficit for a total of 5 days. And then day 6 hits. Your weight spikes back up to 165 pounds. You get pissed off. You feel like things aren't working. You don't feel like you were on the right track. You start to get confused. You think, should I cut my calories more? Should I be doing more cardio? You get really confused because like, how can I be making progress? And all of a sudden it spikes back up and you get a little demoralized. But you are still in a 500 calorie deficit, and that's why it's really confusing. And then day 7 hits and you now weigh 164 pounds, so it dropped down again. But you're still kind of frustrated. You don't understand why your weight keeps fluctuating so much, and you were still in a 500 calorie deficit every single day. But here's what is really interesting that you need to pay attention to. So you started at 165 pounds. Now, if we follow that idea that your weight fluctuates between the same 1 to 3 pounds, your weight's fluctuating between 165 to 163 pounds. But if we were to take the average of all 7 of these weights, your average would actually turn out to be 164 pounds. So from your starting weight, you actually would have lost 1 pound. Now, if we continue to follow that 1 to 3 pounds fluctuating rule, your weight would now fluctuate between 164 to 161 pounds. So over those 7 days, you were in a 500 calorie deficit, which adds up to 3,500 calories like we talked about. So over those 7 days, your average weight ended up losing 1 pound of fat. Now, if we were to repeat these 7 days and do this again with 164 to 161 pounds, your weight would average another pound of fat. Most people think progress should look linear. They think progress should look like this. You should just continue to be losing weight continuously on a daily basis, and it should never spike up. When in reality, your weight actually tends to look more like this. You start seeing several spikes where it goes up and several small spikes where it goes down. And it's actually pretty realistic to see big spikes occasionally where it goes up. Maybe you went on vacation or maybe you went out to eat, and then big spikes where it goes down. But it continues to go down over time. So most people are gonna step on the scale every single day and they're gonna pay attention to that spike and that spike. So although that you think you should be following this green line, you should be linear with weight loss is actually this up and down line. It is normal to see these fluctuations on a daily basis. So it's not about the daily weigh-ins being linear. It's about this green line or this trend line. So the average of all your weights being linear and actually going down. Because weight loss can feel like a freaking roller coaster sometimes. So what should you do if you keep seeing this happen? I want you to ignore these up and down spikes. I think you should still weigh yourself pretty consistently if you're trying to track progress, because it's going to give you a more accurate green line. But take a step back, maybe every single week, every single month. Be able to not just look at the scale, step on it, get pissed off when it stinking spikes up in one day and get excited when it spikes down in a day. Track it, ignore it. And I know it's hard to ignore it, but track it, ignore it, and then take a step back and look to see if you're getting a trend line over time. What this means is you need to give this more than a week and you need to quit freaking out. So ignore daily spikes and start paying attention to trends. Now, I say this from a place of love because I want you to succeed. I understand what it's like to be pissed off at the scale a lot. I understand what it's like to feel frustrated with weight loss and think that things just aren't working, think that you need to be constantly changing everything.
You need to pump the brakes, slow down, and quit freaking the fuck out. Relax. You need to give it time. You need to trust things. Yes, you're not going to get it 100% right every single time. And this is just the reality of everything that you do in your life. It takes a lot of trial and error. Everything takes longer than you want it to be. Weight loss is the same way. You are not going to expect a big drop immediately. So you need to slow the gas, pump the brakes, and relax. And honestly, this is me a lot of the times when it comes to money. Like, when I first started dating my fiance at the time, I would freak out about money. I was somebody that was very stingy with my money. I didn't want to spend anything. I tried to save everything physically possible when I went to the grocery store. I would look for the cheapest thing. I would make sure that I only bought what I needed. I'd make sure I only spent what I needed. After being with her for a while, I started to realize like I need to be a little bit looser with my money. It doesn't mean I should spend and go crazy, but I need to quit freaking out and honing in on it so much. You have to find a balance and be able to not just freak out all the time and pay attention on a daily basis to what the scale is, or otherwise it's going to drive you flipping nuts. So there's a simple rule that you need to follow. I want you to follow a 3 to 4 week rule. If after 3 to 4 weeks you are not seeing progress on the scale, then it's time to take a step back and reassess and think, am I making progress? What am I doing wrong? What do I need to work on? What things should I try? What changes should I make? What videos should I watch to help me lose weight? But you got to give it 3 to 4 weeks because the scale is not going to show you everything. Now, if you aren't seeing progress or very little progress after 3 to 4 weeks, then this is how you're going to fix it. I like to think about weight loss results like this funnel. First, we have a calorie deficit at the top. Without this calorie deficit, you will not lose fat over time. The scale could still fluctuate a little bit, but like I said, if it's been 3 to 4 weeks and you're not losing any fat or any weight, it's because you're not in a calorie deficit. This is the biggest thing. If you can't nail this, then you're never going to lose fat. So I'm going to show you a very easy way to do this. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to use a calorie calculator because it's going to tell you exactly how many calories you should be eating to lose weight. Now, this calculator that I have here is completely free. You can access it in the link in the description. And there's also a cool thing that I have attached to this that I'm going to explain here in a little bit. But first, all you need to do is usually enter in the information that it's asking for. So male or female. Then you're going to enter in your age. I'm just going to say, because I'm 27, I'm going to put 27. And then I'm 5 feet, 11 inches. I weigh 185 pounds. And then I have a very active life, a very active job. So like I'm pretty dang active. I'm going to put 6-7 days a week. I also work out, get tons of steps a day. If you aren't in that boat, then you obviously would go a little bit lower, but I'm pretty active. So I'm going to put that. If you don't know, I would just, when in doubt, I would just go one under just to be on the safe side. Then all you need to do, that's easy, right? You're just going to click calculate my calories. Now, what it's going to give you is going to give you 3 different numbers, okay? The one in red is just what you would eat to maintain. So this is what your maintenance calories would be. This is what, if you ate every single day, you would not gain or lose any fat, okay? Then there's another number here. It's going to be your deficit number. So this is only what all this is if you took 500 minus this maintenance number, that's how much you would lose to lose fat. So this is the number that you would eat. Now, this depends a little bit for some people. Some people shouldn't take 500. Some people maybe take a little bit more, and some people take a little bit less. Good rule of thumb, it's going to be 500. So I would just follow this number. Now, if this number is really low, and when I mean really low, I mean like 1,400 calories, 1,300 calories, I would bump it up a little bit, and I would just minus 250 from this number instead. Then it's going to be a protein range. This might be really high, if whatever yours is. So this is set to right now just your body weight. So if what I want you to do, if this seems really high, just take your goal body weight times 0.8, and that's gonna be the amount of grams to eat in protein every single day, okay? Now, with this, so this is now you know how many calories you need to eat to lose weight. If you decide to download this course or not, or download this this free calculator, I actually have a whole free video course that I am gonna have attached with it. So I'm going to have a video course that's going to be outlining how to use these numbers to actually lose fat. Most people sit here and they just give you some calculator just to tell you how to lose fat. I'm going to teach you, okay? So I made a whole free course. I'm going to be sending this to you just by email, like I said, completely free. If you don't really want it, you can always unsubscribe. And then also there'll be a button here that will be able to access the link. Okay, so with this, you can just find out how many calories you need, and you're gonna have a whole free mini course to walk you through how to use these numbers to actually lose fat. So after you found what your calorie deficit numbers should be,
you should be able to start getting into a calorie deficit. And like I said, the link is free and down in the description below. But you should be able to figure this out because this is, like I said, this is the most important piece. Without this, the next stuff isn't really going to matter. It's still going to be good for you, but it's not going to matter when it comes to fat loss. The next step in the funnel is going to be steps. Steps, I think, are one of the most important things when it comes to losing weight, when it comes to losing fat. Most people are going to sit here and tell you, do 10,000 steps. I think there's two big questions that you really need to ask yourself to figure out how many steps you should be losing or how many steps you should be doing to lose fat. And that first one is going to be how many minutes each day can you realistically put towards intentional walking. So what this means is I don't mean walking around the house getting chores or doing chores. I think those steps definitely add up when it comes to your step count. I mean, how many steps can you actually, or how much time can you actually dedicate on a daily or weekly basis to go outside and go get some steps, to hop on a treadmill, a walking pad and get some steps? How much time can you actually dedicate to this? Now, the second question that you need to be asking yourself is what habits can you stack? For example, if you are working and you have a standing desk, you need to ask yourself, can I pair this with something? Can I get a walking pad to put under this desk while I am working? If I am on a work meeting, can I go outside and get a walk? If I'm talking to someone on the phone, can I go outside and get a walk? If I'm sitting there scrolling on social media, can I sit there and walk around my place to get some steps in? Can you park at the back of the parking lot while you are going to the grocery store so you can now add steps there? Can you walk to work? Can you walk to the grocery store? How can you stack these habits with walking? And this is where it's going to make fat loss stay off for the long term and make it sustainable because you are going to learn how to stack habits. So I don't really always have this answer of how many steps that you should have. I can give you some ideas to start. Like a good rule of thumb can be you need to get roughly about 7,500 steps every single day. Now, this is just a starting point. If you're only at 2,000 steps every single day, a good rule of thumb for you could be to add an extra 2,000 steps every single day. So if you're only getting 2,000, try to hit 4,000 consistently. Once you hit 4,000 consistently, then you're going to try to hit 6,000 consistently over time. This is how you can start building upon what you have. But you need to ask yourself these two questions to figure out what's realistic for you. Because some people, it's going to be 6,000 steps right now in your life. Other people, could be 15,000. And although more may be a good thing in the short term, you have to figure out what's going to work in the long term. You need to ask yourself, what can I stick to for the next month after this, the month after that? Could I keep doing these things realistically for several months after? So after you've nailed your steps, the next thing in the funnel is going to be your workouts. So when I say your workouts, what do I mean? I mean 2 to 3 times a week doing full body strength training workouts. So what is this going to look like? This is going to be doing lower body, upper body, and core all in a workout. Each workout is going to be roughly 6 to 8 exercises. Most people think they need a ton of exercises. If you are doing 6 to 8 exercises, you are lifting heavy weights, you're doing them for several sets, and then doing several reps. This should end up taking you roughly anywhere from about 30 to 60 minutes in the gym. You don't need more than 30 to 60 minutes. If 30 is more realistic for you, maybe you're really busy, you have kids, maybe you work 2 jobs, 30 minutes is totally fine. I would much rather have you get a 15-minute workout a couple times a week than trying to get one 60-minute workout and only doing it occasionally. So these are more questions that you have to ask yourself. But good rule of thumb is going to be anywhere from 30 to 60-minute workout, 2 to 3 full body workouts, strength training workouts each week. I'm not counting Pilates, I'm not counting yoga. I'm talking about lifting heavy weights, going up in reps in the gym, going up in weights in the gym. I'm going to try to make a free workout for you in the future. Actually, let's do this. If you download that free calorie deficit thing, I'm just going to attach a free workout quickly in there as well that you can access. Now, the last part of the funnel that we are going to address is going to be consistency. Why do I put this last? A lot of people are going to sit there and think that should probably go up on the top of this funnel. But if you can't nail all 3 of these, then there's a good chance you're probably not going to lose weight. Now, consistency matters for all 3 of these. Consistency is what's going to, when you get closer to the end of that funnel, is what's going to lead to the most sustainable and the best weight loss results for you. So what does consistency look like? Well, like I said, it's as we talked about in this video, it's asking yourself several questions about each of these. What is going to be realistic? So when it comes to a calorie deficit, that's going to be, how do I make a diet that I can stick to for the long term? So eating high protein foods, high
fiber foods, making sure that you have a high protein number every single day that you hit, maybe a fiber number, making sure you're picking foods that you enjoy, making sure you're still occasionally enjoying foods from time to time. These are like, that's where consistency falls into this. Then the next is figuring out, how can I consistently stay with my steps? How can I consistently do my workouts, which we talked about here for both of these. Now, you have to figure out all these three together, added with consistency on top of this. That's going to lead you to the best weight loss, most sustainable weight loss results that you are going to get. Now, this funnel is crucial for losing weight sustainably. I am not a massive fan of aggressively losing weight. I'm a massive fan of being able to stick to something long term, make it sustainable, so you can continue to hold the weight off forever. Now, that funnel is crucial for losing weight, but if you've had a slow metabolism for years, you can actually increase it to make this funnel work better for you. And I outline this here and explain this in this next video that you can watch right here.